I'm Big Raymond with Salisbury Tool and Supply right here in Wichita, Kansas, and you're watching Dave's Picks.
Week number 4 in the National Football League, and you're watching Picks with David. Hey, thanks for joining me for another one of my videos here as we prepare you for Sunday and Monday editions of the games, and we'll begin this week in Indianapolis. It's the 1-2 Tennessee Titans at the 1-1 Indianapolis Colts. Tennessee started the season uncharacteristically with the loss after a big second half by the New York Giants in Tennessee. Then the Titans went up to Buffalo and got mollywopped by the Buffalo Bills, but they managed to eke out a victory this last week against the Las Vegas Raiders. On the other hand, the Colts started the season with a tie against the Houston Texans. They got themselves a shutout. Got shut out by the Jacksonville Jaguars in week 2, but surprised the Kansas City Chiefs in their hope opener in Indianapolis last week. So here you have a couple of teams that know each other very well, AFC South rivals. Tennessee is who you always expect them to be, a team that's going to run the ball predominantly with Derrick Henry. That sets up the play-action passing for Mr. Ryan Tannehill. He's got a couple of different weapons at wide receiver this year, as they traded for Robert Woods in the offseason from the Rams, and they picked themselves up a nice rookie in Treylon Burks in the draft. They had to get Treylon Burks because they traded away their number 1 wide receiver in A.J. Brown to the Philadelphia Eagles. As for the Indianapolis Colts, they brought in Matt Ryan, and, it hasn't gone well early in the season. I think it's a situation where the team is still learning him. He's still learning the system, and together they're going to have to work it out over the long haul. Now, Jonathan Taylor is nicked up with a toe injury, so he may not play in this particular game. But I expect him to start and at least play until, he can't, in which Nyheim Hines will come in and spell him at the running back position. They don't have a lot of big play wide receivers in Indianapolis, but Michael Pittman II, or Jr., is definitely one of them. Look for him to make some plays down the field. Both defenses were really good last year, but have been subpar thus far this season. In this particular game, I think the smart play is for me to take the Tennessee Titans to win this game. Our second matchup is a pair of 2-1 teams that come in with different sets of expectations this year. Buffalo stomped on the Rams and beat up on the Titans in the first 2 weeks of the season. But then they just struggled due to the heat and a lot of their players being injured in the third week of the year against the then undefeated Miami Dolphins. Baltimore comes in having beaten New England and also the Jets, but they struggled in their game against Miami as well. And so this is one of those games where the two teams here are basically battling for playoff positioning at the end of the season. You got Josh Allen and his weapons and a very good defense against Lamar Jackson and his weapons, and a defense that normally is very good, but it hasn't looked good so far this season. They've given up a lot of big plays, especially to Miami. I noticed that the New England Patriots put up quite a few points, and I don't think that New England is that strong of an offense. So the defense of the Baltimore Ravens really worries me. I know they're playing at home, and I know that they have like a chip on their shoulder from a playoff loss a couple years ago to Buffalo, but I don't see Buffalo losing 2 games in a row. I'll take the Bills to beat the Ravens in Baltimore. Our third game is a really fun one for me. You got the 2-1 Jacksonville Jaguars coming to town against the undefeated and 3-0 Philadelphia Eagles. This game here is very interesting to me because you have the former head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, Doug Peterson, is now the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And the Jaguars are coming off of a huge win, going clear to the West Coast and beating the Chargers on the road. The Eagles have managed to beat a couple of really good teams in the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions this year, amongst the Washington football team, or I should say the Commanders. But you've got a team that's up and coming. They put all of their eggs in their basket to see that Jalen Hurts is the quarterback going forward for the future here. Philadelphia has a really good defense, and now with the offensive weapons that they put around Jalen Hurts, they have a 3-0 record for a reason. Now, on the other side, you've got Jacksonville here, and Jacksonville's got Trevor Lawrence, who obviously did not play well last year. He just didn't have any coaching. Now he's got a bona fide coaching staff. They have a team that plays really good defense. They shut the Colts out. Even though the Colts, have struggled early in the season, you don't expect Jacksonville to shut out anybody. But here you have the Jaguars coming to town against an undefeated Eagles team, and I know that Doug Peterson would like to get a little bit of revenge against his former club, and I think this is going to be a really good game, but I don't think Jacksonville is going to be, able to overcome the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to win this game in a close one. Sunday Night Football on NBC, you got the Kansas City Chiefs at 2-1 against the 2-1 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kansas City comes in off of a loss against the Indianapolis Colts in Indianapolis, and Tampa Bay comes in, after they lose at home to the Green Bay Packers. So, that particular game is a couple of the heavyweights in the NFC fighting it out. I thought the Indianapolis Colts would be a heavyweight in the AFC this year, and maybe they are on their way after that victory against the Chiefs. But, here we have Super Bowl rematch from a couple of years ago, Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes. And I think the key to this game is neither offense has really exploded on the scene this year. It's all about the defenses. And the defense played really well against the New Orleans Saints. The defense played really well against the Green Bay Packers. And I think Tampa has the advantage because of that defense. Now, the offenses, Kansas City is still struggling to find its identity. They played so well in week number 1, but once people see what they have on tape, it looks like they're struggling getting the ball to their array of the different receivers. While Travis Kelce is still a weapon in the middle of the field, their running game has not been as strong as they would have liked it to have been so far this year. As for Tampa's running game, it's kind of the same thing. They do have, Leonard Fournette there at running back position, and he's a bruiser, and he can pound the line. And I think that when it all comes down to it, Kansas City on the road against Tampa, Tampa's just got the better defense. I'm going to take the Buccaneers to beat the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Monday Night Football on ESPN. We've got the world champion Los Angeles Rams coming in at 2-1 against the 1-2 San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers have struggled on offense even after they brought in Jimmy Garoppolo to play at starting quarterback after the injury to Trey Lance. The Rams didn't look good in week 1 against Buffalo, but have picked up where they left off last year and are starting to dominate on both lines of scrimmage. San Francisco's defense has been very good this year, but the offense is still trying to get it together. The running game has been affected by an injury to Elijah Mitchell, and so they have Jeff Wilson Jr. as the starting running back. They still have weapons: Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, but they're just, trying to recover from, I think, the loss of practice time and preparation in the offseason that Garoppolo did not get because he didn't think he was going to be part of this team. Everybody thought that he was going to get traded. Now they've had another week of preparation. They've had another opportunity to study the things that they have done wrong against the Denver Broncos when they only lost by 1 point. And so here they are. They're playing at home on Monday Night Football. And up until the NFC Championship game last year, the 49ers had the Rams number. Now the Rams come to town, and, they're not as explosive as they have been, last year. But, I still think that they are going to put up some points. I think this is a classic matchup between these two teams. And at the end of the day, I think the San Francisco 49ers are going to eke it out over the Rams on Monday Night Football. That brings us to our Spotlight Players of the Weekend, and we'll begin with Jacksonville's Zay Jones. He's become the spotlight player here because he has been the focal point of the offense and the passing game the last couple of weeks for Jacksonville, as teams are double-teaming Christian Kirk, his running mate, on the other side. So look for Zay Jones to make some big plays down the field in the game against the Philadelphia Eagles, where he'll probably be matched up against Darius Slay, one of the best corners in the NFL. Our second player in the spotlight this weekend is Cam Akers, who started the season, not doing so well, as he didn't get but 2 touches in the first game against Buffalo. And Darrell Henderson was the starting running back in that particular game. But he started to come on the last couple of weeks, and we're seeing why he was supposed to be the lead back from the start of the year. Here Cam Akers is doing quite well. He's a great receiver out of the backfield. He's coming off of an injury last year where he miraculously played in the Super Bowl, even though he had an Achilles injury earlier in the year. So look for him to be the lead back, and he'll help set up the play-action passing for Matthew Stafford and the Rams in that game against the 49ers. So there's your Week 4 Picks with David. Thank you so much for joining me here. Another week of great picks. Hopefully we'll do a lot better than we did last week when I only went 1-5. Ugh. So hopefully we'll have a good weekend here. Week 4 of the NFL. Once again, thanks for joining me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, watch some of my preseason predictions on this other video here. We'll see you next Thursday for Amazon Prime's Week 5 game.